we must go on to talk about Jadon Sancho and a possible return for a third time to Borussia Dortmund. We could talk about Palhinha as well. To Spurs on a season-long loan from Bayern. Let's say what shall we do? Let's stick with Jadon Sancho. Let's go with Jadon Sancho. So, Jules, I want to get more information on this from you, if I can. Jadon Sancho possibly going back to Borussia Dortmund for a third time. Is the club as keen as him?
Well, so he's very keen, that's for sure. He's ready to take a pay cut as well to go back to Dortmund, where, let's be honest, I know he's a very good player, but this is the only place really where things have worked out for him. Not at Chelsea, not at Manchester United, but only at Dortmund. First spell, second spell was still good when they reached the Champions League final. And I think he wants to be happy again. He wants to play, and this is a place that he knows and that he knows well. They know him too. Things have changed. It's a different manager. It's a slightly different mindset than when he was there the first time round and then the second time round again. But they are obviously looking for a player like him because they sold Gittins to Liverpool, for example. So they are after wingers like Jadon Sancho. If you watch what he did at Chelsea for last season and the fact that, for example, they were not ready to pay Manchester United £25 million for him. Instead, we're very happy to pay £5 million in compensation for not signing him permanently. You realise that his season was pretty poor. So if you're Dortmund, it's still a bit of a gamble, but at least you know that it seems there's something that he likes in Dortmund because he's pretty good when he plays there.
Do you think that they look at it and go, OK, Chelsea didn't want to keep him, even though he'd been delivering somewhat for them. Manchester United don't want him. Why would we want him?
I look at Jadon Sancho recently with the move between clubs, and Man United's a common theme here for some of these players. But I do, to me, and they're not the different type of players, but he just, to me, has Marcus Rashford written all over it. It's like almost letting his career just sort of willow away. And
so he might end up at Barcelona.
Yeah, I don't think he's the luckiest guy footballer on the planet getting that move, and we'll see how that pans out when the La Liga season starts. But you know, you remember that time as well. He made a rod for his own back. You know, there's a common theme here with this Man United problem, and it's attitude. And do you remember he fell out with Ten Hag and he refused to? And listen,
he refused to apologise.
He refused to apologise. And there's two sides to every story. There always is. And we said this at the time. I think we had this discussion. Is look, sometimes you have to swallow it because you've got a career. Because clubs the size of Man United and others can destroy you. And you know, it's not easy for them to sit with a player who is out of the loop and he's getting paid a lot of money, but a lot of these big clubs can do it. And we just felt at the time it was like he was getting badly advised. And I just feel the latter part of his career is like been bad advice, bad attitude, bad decisions. And I think that sort of transcended onto the field, where we haven't seen this player from 4 or 5 years ago when he was this guy taking people on all the time. He was super confident. He was doing stuff that would sort of make you sit up a little bit. So no, I would be surprised if Dortmund took him back. I mean, he's desperate. He's talking about taking pay cuts, which is admirable, to be fair. But I think he realises he's in a position where none of the real big guys that can afford to pay his wages want him. And those numbers really don't hit home, do they? For a player who has got the talent, but you have to question whether he's got the right mentality to pick up his career again. I'm not sure he has.
Are you surprised that he was willing to take a pay cut to facilitate to move back to Dortmund?
Well, yeah, but it doesn't kind of make a lot of sense, you know, either. I mean, as far as I was aware, Chelsea had wanted to sign him, but they were similarly didn't want to pay him what he was getting, and he didn't want to take a pay cut to go there. So has he just decided in his own mind that, well, if I don't go to Chelsea, I'll always be able to go to Dortmund? And if I'm going to take a pay cut, I'd rather go to Dortmund. I mean, that's the only thing I can think that has been going through his mind, why he wouldn't sign for Chelsea. And now he's, because of his decision making.
Well, Chelsea didn't want him, Stevie.
Well, apparently they did. Apparently they offered him something and it was a big wage cut as well. Somebody came on the show and said that. I didn't make it up myself. But regardless, his actions and the way he is, he's putting himself in a position where people, without even knowing really the whole ins and outs, just don't want anything to do with him. That's kind of where he's going with his actions.
And he's almost like, he's almost like another João Felix, isn't he? The more places he goes on loan, the more places he goes to try and resurrect, and the worse he does, and when he doesn't make an impact, then João Felix is like that. I mean, how many people have seen the João Felix movie? And Chelsea incredibly went back in there, but again, there was some sort of, financial side to how that was all evolving. But, when João Felix went to Milan, did anybody really think that was going to be...
Well, they all
It's going to work out.
We all went, well, we know what's going to happen here. And in some sense, Jadon Sancho's in that boat that, 2 or 3 clubs have had a good look at him again, and 2 or 3 clubs have thought, no, he's not offering enough.
So one player who's looking like going the other way is João Palhinha. Spoiler alert, you probably saw his profile come up a little bit earlier on, leaving the Bundesliga with a return to the Premier League on loan to Spurs, Jules.
Yeah, I mean, this was just one of those transfers that didn't fit in really. That was never going to work out for him at Bayern Munich. Remember, Tuchel really wanted him the summer before, then didn't happen. He joined him in last July, so in 2024, and he's hardly played. He's had injuries. He was never a good fit for Vincent Kompany, and certainly the way that Bayern under Kompany were playing. It's just not the fact that he's a bad player. He's not a bad player. That was just a bad context for him and for the qualities that he had. So it's a good move. It's a good move for him to come back to the Premier League to a club like Spurs. I think it's a good move from Spurs and from Thomas Frank to have somebody like him in that number 6 position, considering the players that they already have in that kind of area or position who are not as defensive-minded as Palhinha is. So Bissouma is a good player, Sarr is a good player, Bergwijn is a good player. But nobody really is a destroyer defensively, like a proper holding midfielder than like Palhinha. So I think that could work for them, and it's certainly an option. It's a loan with an option to buy, so you don't take too much risk either. So let's see how it goes, but this could work really well, I think.
I think this is a really good signing.
All right.
Joe's just mentioned those players. The players that have been in there, Bentancur, Bissouma and Sarr. I mean, they've got. It's almost like they had carte blanche just to go and do what they wanted. I mean, Bentancur being probably the deeper of them. But you watch Rodrigo Bentancur as a very good player. I mean, good passer of the ball. But he makes some ridiculous challenges. He charges around, and they actually need somebody, and they did need somebody, and they have done for the last couple of years, that actually wants to sit in front of the back four and sort of direct the traffic a little bit. They've had 3 midfielders in there that have just been harem scarum. And very experienced midfielders just go off running all over the shop, leaving these huge gaps. And if you look back, particularly to the job he did at Fulham, he was excellent in there. I think he's a very good player. This would be a smart move for Thomas
It's
Frank.
definitely horses for courses with Palhinha. He loves doing that. As Craig said, he doesn't want to go running in the box and run wide and score goals and do it. He's quite happy to be the destroyer, get the ball, make it simple, give it to the players who are supposed to do that. This is absolutely horses for courses, and with a 30 million option, seems like a no-brainer.
Not bad at all. It won't be long until we actually do get to see the Bundesliga back in action on ESPN Plus, as the season is almost upon us. Kicks off with Bayern Munich against Leipzig on August 22nd. And as always, all of these games will be available for the opening weekend on ESPN Plus. Keep up to date with all the latest ins and outs over on our YouTube channel, ESPN FC.